The Perimeter with Adam Morrison is proudly presented by Owens Farms Piedmontese.
Let me share a local Spokane secret that everyone needs to know about. Owens Farms Piedmontese beef. Trust me when I say this. You cannot beat this meat. It's tender. It's flavorful. It's some of the best beef you'll ever put into your mouth, period. And to top it off, when you eat it, you can say goodbye to the meat hangovers. That's because Piedmontese beef is lean and has much less cholesterol than your typical supermarket beef. It's a new year. It's time to start living your life with no regrets. Go to ofp.farm to reserve your half or whole order of premium Piedmontese beef today. Go to ofp.farm. The Perimeter with Adam Morrison is produced independently and locally in Spokane, Washington by Spokast Studios. Our city, our stories. Visit www.spokast.com to learn more about how you can start your very own podcast today. Do you love beer and helping support our local community? Then you need to check out Golden Handle Brewing. It's Spokane's first social purpose brewery dedicated to brewing delicious beer and supporting the people and organizations that make Spokane a better place. Lots of places donate a little bit of their revenue to community organizations, and that's a great thing. But at Golden Handle, we do it every single day. Each month, we pick a different community nonprofit and then donate $1 of every Golden Handle pint we sell for the entire month to that cause. Then the next month, we do it all again. So cheers to the Bulldogs and cheers to a more resilient community. Mention that the Perimeter with Adam Morrison sent you and get a free Perimeter sticker when you order any Golden Handle beer. Visit us at the Old Steel Barrel Taproom on the west end of downtown Spokane at 154 South Madison Street, Thursday through Monday, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m.
The Perimeter with Adam Morrison is brought to you in sponsorship with Delicious Hamburgers. Did you know Delicious Hamburgers and Fries are the freshest in Spokane? Their hamburgers are never frozen, and that's because it tastes better. There's not even a freezer in the restaurant. Their fries are always made to order and never sit under a heat lamp. It's differences like this you can truly taste. Next time you're craving the freshest hamburgers and fries, head to the corner of Augusta and Division and ask for the Perimeter Combo. A triple delicious hamburger with grilled onions, pickles, and special sauce. It also comes with fries and your choice of a milkshake. Delicious. Taste the difference.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Turn up the 10. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Welcome to season 2 of The Perimeter. I finally got the man, Drew Timme, to come on. Appreciate you, man.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Like I was saying, I tried 2 years ago. You were busy. Something came up for you. I think you were going through the draft process or going to Chicago, wherever the hell it was, so it didn't work out. But this is one all the fans want. I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you coming on. It's I had the list, and I was like, Drew Timme's on top of the list. So it's cool that you came on and figured this out. But I know you're busy. This is, to give people context, is we're going into the NCAA tournament. So it's Selection Sunday, so we don't know where you're going. So I'm not going to talk about matchups or anything like that. I don't think anybody gives a really shit about what you think about Furman or whoever the hell you guys are going to play in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's going to care. So, because the theme of this year's podcast has been recap, my thoughts, analytics on the game. But this is just straight interviews. So we started season 1 with straight interviews. So I like doing these. It's just fun to kind of pull the veil back for a lot of fans, and then myself as a former player, because obviously I'm around you guys, but it's different as far as how the program is compared to how it was, how Huey was, travel, all that shit. And I think that stuff's interesting to people. So again, thanks for coming on. I usually start these off like very basic, like we're on a Tinder date and we're just talking like, where are you from? Yeah. Where are you from? What's your story coming into Gonzaga? Where'd you play at? Kind of just your basic roots.
Yeah, so I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I played at J.J. Pierce High School, which
private
is in Richardson. No, public school.
Public.
But
Okay.
we were 6A, so we were the biggest classification.
Yeah.
So I was never able to make it too far into playoffs just because.
I'm sure those teams are loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 6A.
But I played AAU with Draw Nation my last year, which was Jermaine O'Neal's team. So that's kind of how I've just been with him ever since. And then, coming into GU, I was like a 4-star recruit.
You're top 100 though, right? They were 42,
Yeah, so I was up there and everything. And I remember when I was making my decision to come up here, I was just not trying to come up here.
There's a lot of guys say that. you get over the pass and you go down Hamilton, Nevada, and you look at it, holy shit. Anyway, keep going.
My thing was more of I wanted to be at home.
Yeah.
I wanted to play in Texas. But just kind of going through the process, I came up here and I was like, damn, like this just feels like the perfect place. And I kept trying to like find other places that were closer to home because I'm a big homer as well. Like, I like to be kind of close to my family. So it was a little choice to come up here. Like it was difficult, but at the end of the day, like I just knew it was perfect for like the type of player.
Culture and all that stuff mattered, right? Style of play, things like that, right? I mean, obviously, because I always tell people like we have good facilities, but we're not going to blow anybody out of the water. That's obvious, and that's not a knock on the new practice facility. But like, if you just go to other universities, football schools, like we're not even fucking close. Guys come here to see style of play. They see, the culture, and people take that as cliche, but it's real. Like because ball pings, you play an open system with high ball screens within a roll and replace, and then you can duck in. But it's a pro style system. So I always tell people, like, when Jalen came, when you came, when Chet came, when these bigger name recruits came, they're looking to see style of play and how it's going to benefit me later on. So that's good to hear because we are always going to fight the facility. We don't have football type of shit, even though we fly private, all that stuff. But like, we're behind.
Yeah.
In a sense on that, not in a bad way, but like we're not. How do I say this? We're in the top tier, but we're not in the top of the pyramid. And we never will be, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. I mean, it's definitely because we don't have like a big football team or anything like that. Like you just can't compete with some of those schools.
What other schools, real quick, who offered you, like, you're considering, like your top 4?
It was Alabama, A&M, Illinois, and Arizona.
Yeah. What? Yeah. So how close were you to the other ones? Was it weather? Did weather have a part in it? So everybody comes up here and is like, what the fuck, man? You're wearing a coat right now. It's fucking March.
Dude, I was not. Yeah, yesterday was snowing. I was low-key so flustered.
It's terrible, dude. It's awful. I hate it. I can't stand it. I love my kids. I love Spokane, but this time of the year, 6 months, it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, no, it's awful. Like I remember my freshman year, I thought like a jacket and pants was enough.
Yeah,
and it's not. And I had to redo my whole wardrobe.
Did you go straight long johns? Did you ever get those? The tighty whitey long johns all the way down the ankles?
No, I don't
go
know
that
about
far?
those. No.
The Carhartt ones? I said it's too late, but I would have put you onto those, not in a weird way. But like you get to a point where you're like, jeans is not enough because that wind will cut, and you're like, oh, fuck, this is really fucking cool. But yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, like I said, obviously it was the right choice. How much did your parents involved in that? Like, obviously they're involved, but was your dad like? Because I've talked to your dad a few times, just after games and stuff. Where was he like 50% of your decision? You know what I'm saying? Because you're a smart kid, and I'm sure you listen to your dad, but he probably wants to like, what's best for you, son? How was that process for it as a recruit? I'm just going through your mind.
My parents were awesome with it. Yeah, they both just were like, we're going to like support whatever decision you make. It's your career, it's your life. But like, we'll just list out the pros and cons of everything.
Yeah,
we're going to look
smart.
at every angle. And then like, you can ask us whatever you want, but like, it's your choice at the end of the day. Yeah. So it was kind of nice from that standpoint. I know a lot of people go through and they have a lot of pressure from like their parents and other people. And mine are like, look, like, as long as like you understand the decision you're making and like the consequences, whether they're good or bad, like it's your choice, and I really love that about them. And
yeah, no, it makes it. I'm sure it made it easier. And like you said, a lot of times, higher name recruits, that parents' decision, and then your scumbag AAU coach, if you had one, right? We've all seen them. Yeah. I coach AAU, and I do the girls' side, but I've seen some guys, with other programs, and you're just like, fuck, these guys are pieces of shit. Like they shouldn't be
Yeah.
around any youth basketball at all. But anyway, that stuff does factor in. They give you the. I mean, I've seen it when I was playing. Like, well, we gave you Adidas shoes when you were 8th grade, so you should go to an Adidas school. Like, who fucking cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. But some guys, have that mindset. So that's why I asked, because like you played obviously in a big AU club. I didn't coming up, but it was different back then. But that stuff does factor into recruiting more than people think, which is interesting, I guess, if you're just a casual fan, you're not familiar with AU basketball. It is a scumbag filled, vile, scum everywhere. The tournaments are fun and stuff, but you just see some of these programs, you're like, these guys are in it for the wrong reasons, man.
Yeah,
So-
when you find the good, like good legit person, you have to stick with them.
You stay with them, exactly.
That's huge,
Yep.
'cause
you can tell there's some good ones. I'm not saying they're all
Yeah,
like that, but
yeah.
you look at some of these programs, you're like I said, like these people should not be around youth kids basketball wise. They're just not doing it for the right reasons. They're not, enhancing their lives. They're not making them better players. They're not teaching them the game the right way. It's all about them trying to win a fucking trophy that nobody really cares about.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Right. So anyway, let's get into your freshman year. So you came out of the bench that year, right?
Yeah. I was behind Tilly and Phillip.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
Pretty loaded front court.
it was, I remember you played though, you probably played what, 15 to 20 minutes a night that year?
Yeah. And then I played a lot more towards the end of the
And then
season.
this season, yeah, you kind of worked your way in. Fewy usually does that. And you guys do the 3 big rotation. What I've come to accept that as the proper way to sub. And I think that's the right, like really good programs do that. You know what I'm saying? Like how Anton used to do that coming up to now, but he earned a starting role. But when you guys can play 3, so then you don't really have to worry about foul pressure and you can get different matchups and stuff like that. So you played, what'd you average that year? I don't even know. I don't even have the notes. I didn't even have your freshman year on here.
Probably like 10.
10.
I would assume, yeah.
Did you foul a lot all the time, like behind the over the backs and shit? I'm just trying to remember. I'm not trying to hammer you,
yeah,
but, like
no, I
calling the
would.
games. Yeah, you would always.
You know how B Mike is. I'm a freshman. He's amping you up all the time. I'm trying to get every rebound I can. I'm like, I can't take these home with me, so might as well use them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
B Mike's. Yeah. Did you know B Mike was a really good player? By the way, I don't know if you guys ever know that. Like he was Oregon State Player of the Year. Like.
I didn't know that, but I've seen him shoot, and you can tell that he used to be like a really good shooter. And
Yeah,
stuff.
he was. We used to call him kind of. Well, we didn't call him that, but he was like slow mo. But like he was one of those guys that'd be like really slow, but then he get like a step back, and he was, he's like 6'4", so he was like our scout team dude. But I always remind people like he did play at Jesuit, okay, with Dunleavy. This is before your time, obviously, but like he was Oregon State Player of the Year. Like Brian was good, so just. Everybody understand that, but yeah. So freshman year, what did you guys do in the NCAA tournament that year?
COVID.
It was the
happened.
it was the COVID. It was the one that's supposed to be in Spokane. Okay, so now I'm getting my timeline right. How disappointing was that for you for your group? I mean, obviously, but like because it's Killian's last year. Was that Phillips last year?
Yeah, he left that
He
year.
left. He always wanted to leave anyway. He was halfway out the door all the
Yeah.
time. Anyway.
Yeah, and then like Admon and Ryan Woolridge's last year too.
Oh yeah, I like those guys. They're cool dudes.
Yeah, no, it was hurtful. I mean, I was super excited, and especially around that WCC championship game. That's when like Dickie V kind of gave me like the national spotlight, and like I was starting to really get confidence and coming to my own. I was like I really like I can really do this,
Yeah.
at a high level
Yeah,
and
no-
have an impact, and not come in at the end of the game and stat pad again.
Yeah,
It's like,
no, exactly. There's everybody has those moments. Sorry to cut you off, but everybody has those moments when you're like, I played 16, 18 minutes a game my freshman year, and then I had a couple games early, but I was like, oh, I belong. You know what I'm saying? Not that you didn't feel that, but like you need one of those games where you're like, fuck yeah, like I can go. I'm an equal out here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one thing doing it like in the middle of the game compared to like the last like 6 minutes of the game when it's already over.
And when coach trusts you to play you in big time minutes,
Exactly.
Right? That's a difference that people don't understand. Like you can come off the bench, but if you're on the floor late, then obviously those minutes matter more. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes people get hung up with I'm not starting, like especially youth players. I'm not starting. It's like, well, if you're on the floor late in the games, that means the coach trusts you more.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was an unfortunate. How many games did you guys lose? Probably up to 6. So, okay. So we were the only. WCC was the only one that completed theirs, besides like the Big West or something like that. I remember that year. Okay, that makes sense because we were flying home from Vegas, and when we landed, that's when they canceled the NCAA tournament. So everybody was like losing their minds because it was in Spokane.
Yeah,
and we were supposed to be a one. Where were we going to be a 1 seed or something like that?
I think it was like us and Kansas were like the 1 and 2 seed that year.
Yeah, and then everybody was excited to have a game in Spokane. I always thought that game, let's just go hypothetical, obviously it didn't happen, but it would have been really difficult for you guys that first 2 rounds. Just because not that you couldn't win, but playing in Spokane would have been a lot of nerves. I know Fewy was nervous about it, like not out in the open, but that's just a lot of pressure. 1 seed, the arena sucks to play in, even though you guys played good against Kentucky, but it's just not a great shooting gym or whatever. So I always thought going into that, I was always like, man, this is kind of weird. You're number 1 seed, you're playing, and you know how the NCAA tournament will play, like your 8-9 game will be like fucking the 6th place Big Ten team that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're like, people don't realize like you got to win this. Like this is a good team and we're going to have to go play some dudes. And they just had a bad year or they had injuries or their chemistry's not right, but they get to the tournament. Guys are like, fuck it, I'm trying to get to the league. So then they might ball out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people don't get those games are tough, but you know, that was obviously shitty. And I'm not going to get into COVID stuff because it's a waste of our time now. It's 3 years ago, but I just remember how pissed off people were. So let's go into your sophomore season. What was your sophomore season like? Let me get here. Oh yeah, this is when you made the national championship, right?
Yeah.
The Baylor game.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, how weird was that COVID tournament? Because I don't think people realize how long you guys were locked down in a hotel together. Wasn't it like
It fucking sucked. I mean,
was it like 40 days or something fucking crazy or something like that?
we had to get there a week early and test than we normally would. And then you would have to stay in that hotel the whole time. And we ended up making it the farthest. Like you're there the longest. And then, but before that, we had to spend like 2 or 3 months together in the Ruby River before it was like fully built. And in that place, and we were just like self-bubbled and isolated just because like you get one positive in the bubble, then your whole team goes home.
Yeah, I remember that shit was crazy. All the PCR testing, and that's when they were doing the fucking, long ass, it's too much. But anyway, I'm not trying to do politics here, but somebody told me a story that you guys, it was such a, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's one of those deals where they wouldn't even let you have outside people like wash your sheets and shit. So like technically you guys were just like living in filth for like 40 days, right? Didn't you have to wash it yourself and have somebody go take it and all that stuff?
It was just left. Like, I mean, it was literally a frat house.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you think about it, like we had one whole floor to ourselves, like all the staff and players. So like we would just leave our doors propped all day and just like, go from room to room, just fucking around with each other. Yeah. And then like you'd walk to the lobby and then like down some escalators because it's like a big convention center and you'd have practice in a convention center. And then you're like, all right, practice was cool. Now we walk back up the escalators to our room and play Xbox. And like we got 2 designated times to go outside.
It was like prison, man.
It was
crazy. What was the prep like for that, for games? Like, because I mean, I was a big routine guy. Are you a big routine guy?
Nah, not really.
You don't eat like the same stuff? Like you don't eat at a certain time or you just go like team meals?
Just team meals. Yeah. I try not to be superstitious because like if I can't do it, then I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, no,
so,
that's a good point. Some guys, but that's a superstition as well.
Mine is, I guess, not having one.
Yeah, there you go. So you don't like take a nap or fucking anything? You don't. So somebody you just fucking raw dog the whole before a game.
Yeah,
basically.
well, home games I'll show up at like the 90-minute mark and I'll do like Ben, Ton, and I will get some like shots of some hooks, some threes, and then some like drives from the top of the key. That's about it. But that's only for like home games.
But you don't like, again, like I'm not trying to hammer you in this, but you don't like, all right, I have lunch at 12 and the game's at 6. I don't like go home and lay it down for like 30 minutes. You don't take a nap. You just sit there and.
I mean, I'll play Xbox or watch a show.
Still,
like I'm just chilling.
But
like,
you obviously.
I just got to get my mind off like the game for those like probably like 45 minutes
before.
Yeah, because I don't like to think about the game, like the intensity of the game, until like 20 minutes before like I'm about to leave for the gym. Because if I get that adrenaline rush too quick, then I feel like it wears off by the time it's like time to actually go.
That's a good point. Like some guys, like to psych themselves up or whatever. I was a big like psych yourself up type of dude, but then I didn't want to, like you said, adrenaline dump, and then you feel like shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was a big nap guy, and I had to do a routine. That's just interesting. That's why I asked, because I think it's fascinating to get people's different perspectives on how to prepare yourself. And some would argue certain ways are better, but then obviously you've proven with your scoring acumen and all that stuff that it doesn't really matter. But it's just fascinating. You don't lift weights or anything before the game? Do you do like activation or anything like that?
No, not really.
No, a lot of guys do the activation stuff. So yeah. So anyway, to circle back to sophomore year, talk about that UCLA game with Jalen's shot. Like, I have a theory, and I want you to first talk about. Then I'll give you my theory on the next night when you guys played Baylor the day after. But like, what was the feeling like when you made that shot? Like, moments as a team basketball player, where's that rank for you? Like, you don't have to be like, it's the greatest, but like, how cool was that as the vibe of being with your fellas and hitting a shot like that? Like, how cool was that?
No, it really was number one.
Yeah.
I mean, just the magnitude of that. And I remember I was like, after the game, I was like, thank God you made that shot, because I don't know if I could have played another overtime.
Yeah.
I was fucking gassed.
Yeah.
And like, I remember everyone was just so happy it was over. But just like, even with really no fans there and stuff, just like still just the magnitude. And then like, even like just seeing like all the social media and like how crazy that went. It's just like, I was really a part of that moment. And like, I remember just like looking up, because they hit a layup and I'm like, all right, we're probably about to dribble this shit out of the next overtime. And I just like look over me. I'm just like, oh my God, that looks money. And like, it just perfect. dropped in. And it was just like, he ran over to the table and did that.
It was a perfect,
to the cardboard cutouts.
To the cut. I forgot about that. We were, obviously I called it on the radio, and we were fucking.
Can't even see that you're there.
Yeah, like fucking binoculars, like Huddy's, like fucking, like the whole time. It was awesome, but it was just like, can you imagine if that was at a full arena? But anyway, still cool. Like, for us, like as a fan base, it was like, that's one of the greatest shots we've ever had. Now, here's Mike going into my theory. I think, obviously, you wanted to win that game. You had to win that game to get to the championship. But I think the way you guys won it, the media stuff went fucking crazy, and they all only talked about you guys for 48 hours. And I think it just added more fuel to Baylor's fire going into that last game. You get what I'm saying?
No, I definitely would have. But I mean, they also, like, they beat the brakes off Houston, I think.
Oh, I know.
So, like, they were.
But I think it didn't help. And I think it was just one of those games where, like, you guys had such an emotional high, and then you play a Baylor team that's good, and then it was just like hard to get your guys' kickstart going again.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at.
It definitely felt like we played like a national championship type game before.
Exactly.
And then we played, I think, maybe the next day or the day after.
Yeah, you have a day off. You go Saturday, Monday.
And yeah, it's just like that. Like, we were just so excited and just so like, oh my God, like that just happened. That like that adrenaline rush wore off, and I felt like we were just on the come down.
Yep.
And it was hard to like pick ourselves back up.
That's always been my theory, and it's always like, it's hard to say because you don't want to be like, it's not an excuse, but it's also like, you did have a big adrenaline dump, you did have a big emotional deal, and then you play a team that's like, cock diesel ready to fucking kill you, and it was just like a perfect storm for them. Obviously, great program. John Jacobs used to be with us, great coach, all that stuff. I'm not taking away from them, but I was just like, being in that locker room, or being around you guys, but like hearing your thoughts on it, I was like, how much was the adrenaline have to do with going into that next game? And if you're around any competitive sports, anybody would know that's like, that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Like the
It's
emotional,
huge.
it's huge. Exactly. And like, and that game was such an up and down, not just because the shots, like you had the game won, they made a great play. Then who fucking threw you the pass? Was Jalen threw you the pass in the break with the long bound? You know what I'm
After
saying?
he blocked the dude. Like,
It was just so many like great play on both ends for both teams. And then you're like, oh shit, we got another game to play. You get what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
That part was interesting to me. But after that season, you were named first team All WCC Karl Malone Award. Which one is that? It's for the
Power forward.
Power forward. Great season. How good did you feel after that season? Okay, let me stop. As a player, how much time do you take off after this season? Because I'm going to be honest. Like after my sophomore year, freshman year, going into my junior year, like I usually took 2 weeks off, and I probably remember like 2 days of those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Are you one of those guys?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. I didn't want to like stereotype you, but you have a good time, don't you?
Yeah. No, I like to enjoy my time off.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, like I remember we lost to Texas Tech. I missed a 3 at the buzzer. Fucking still haunts me to this day. And that week after, man, oh shit! Like I went to class and that was it. Like I'm not going to lift weights. I'm not shooting. Old English was my friend for a week.
Yeah.
But anyway, I always and I like to ask guys like because some guys are like, let's get back in the gym, and there's nothing wrong with that. But also, I think you need to take your mind away from hoops. You need to go enjoy your friends. You need to enjoy your college experience. Doesn't mean you're doing anything illegal or nefarious. It's just go be a college student. Is basically what I'm trying to get at. But
I think it's important too because I don't think people realize how much of a grind like the season is.
oh, then
And
nobody
just-
they don't. No question.
Just like how hard it is, and like each game, especially like the deeper and more like longer the season is, it's just more and more taxing on you, and like just like knowing personnel, like what this person's gonna do, scouting this, dealing with this and that during a season, like it's a lot, and like it's easy to get burned out. Like you really have to love this shit in order to do it.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many days where I wake up and I'm like, fuck, I have weights, class, practice, and I gotta go back later and shoot. Like, I'm like, I don't want to fucking do it, but I do it just because I love it.
Yeah.
And like, it's just like,
Well, it gets into something we're going to talk about in a little bit, with the NIL. But like when I played, we couldn't get jobs or couldn't get NIL or
Yeah.
whatever. But like if you pencil out, it's like, dude, I work a 40-hour week job, right?
Yeah,
If you count
yeah.
weights, individuals, all that shit, practice, But then the counter to that, and since I'm out of it, I always listen to the counter, and I agree. It's like, well, you're getting free school. So like, okay, I get that. Like, I have plenty of friends, and you will in your life as you move on that you've homies with that are like, they'll be 35 and be like, I'm still paying off my student loans. Yay. You know what I'm saying? So then you kind of always have to be like, all right, I get where you're coming from. But also like, when people are like, you get free gear, like who fucking cares, man? You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like that argument used to always be dumb to me. It's like, you get free shoes. Like, cool. I get 3 pairs of shoes. Like, awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like in a tracksuit, you know what I mean? Like it's cool, but it's not like life-changing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, going into your junior season. Okay. So before your junior season, I think NIL started, right?
Yeah.
21, 22,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think
okay,
so.
so that year you're WCC Player of the Year, second team All-American. When did the NIL stuff start for you? And again, I'm not going to ask you what you make, or that's none of our business, because I think a lot of times people float ideas, and also I just kind of think it's tacky to, be like, I don't know. I think it's inappropriate to ask. You'll learn that in your adult life, but I'm sure your parents have taught you that. But like, when did those phone calls start happening for you? Before the season, with Quest, and I don't know who the fuck else you got.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean during that COVID year, that's when I started my mustache thing. The second coming.
Shit, I did it. Yeah, I did it. Fuck. I totally get it. Keep going.
Yeah, so that's just kind of like where the Timmy like persona started, and everyone was like, before and now, obviously being like so hated and everything. People were like, oh, this is new, this is different, like this is cool, and like kind of just like myself came out, especially during COVID, just because it was like you would just have to find stuff to make energy about. Like,
Yeah, no, very good point. Like the people listening, like he just made a great point. Like the COVID year, you know, as difficult it was for everybody, for the hoop teams, like that's when teams started going defense, like on your own sideline, but you had to. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like an AU tournament.
it's
Like
literally like you're playing like a close scrimmage with someone every game.
Yeah.
It was awful. Like,
yeah,
I remember we could hear like y'all talking perfectly, and it's like we should not be hearing your conversation.
No, absolutely.
Like, in a game, it's crazy.
yeah. Like it was awkward too because you're like Drew Timme with a bad pass there. You know,
And I'll look over like the fuck.
Yeah, no, exactly. So anyway, keep going. Sorry.
But yeah, no, like just I think that kind of helped me build like just at least like exonerate who I was, just like really get myself out there because like we were just trying to come up with things to just bring energy, and I
Yeah,
was like,
you had to.
thinking, shit, I can bring some energy. I can like create some stuff, and you know, pretty outgoing guy myself, obviously, as you know. So like just kind of doing all that stuff, and like I remember like especially during March, I started having some really good games. Like I think I was just averaging like 20, like
Yeah, you killed it. That going into the
27,
championship year. Yeah, and like I'm glossing over your seasons, but yes.
But with
keep
my
going.
stash and handlebars, people were like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's different. This guy's goofy. Like, I didn't realize it, but I was really just marketing myself in front of everyone.
Smart, fucking smart, man.
And then obviously like carrying that momentum over, like everyone just was like, we need to get behind this guy. Like I kind of blew up on social media as well, which really helped with the
Yeah.
NIL. And then just been doing the stash and stuff ever since, just because like so many people like it.
So maybe I should have researched this myself, but I've always been kind of wondering, like, and you're in it, so that's why I'm going to ask you. Is like, do you own name, image, and likeness? But can you like grab a picture of yourself in a Gonzaga uniform and put it on a shirt and sell it, or do you have to wipe out the Gonzaga or get permission and pay the percentage? How does that work?
Permission and pay the percentage. So like it's easier just to stay away from
To
it.
just stay, yeah.
And just wear something regular.
Okay. Yeah, none of that makes sense. How much, you know, how do I word this the right way? How much has the NIL stuff been great at the start? And then if you want to be frank, has it gotten, and it's not a knock on, I'm talking time wise, it's not a knock on, because Northern Quest is great, Phil Hawkins great, but how much has that been kind of annoying for you? Because I lived some of that. I didn't have NIL, but I lived the mania part of it. And that's why I'm asking you, like, are you getting tired of it?
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're making money, so like you can't
Absolutely.
really complain. But no, without my mom, like she's like my manager. She helps me run everything. Like
It's great.
I could not do this by myself. Like
Yeah.
all the time, the requirements, the posts, and then like the worst part is like you go out Saturday night and you have a good time, and then you wake up, you're like, fuck, I got an 8-hour commercial today. Like, so then you have to wake up all groggy and go to that, and it's like, all right.
How long were those shoots? I've done a few commercials. I just did one that's going to come out for March Madness. I can't even say for what, but how long was it? How long was like your Quest commercials like on set?
I was probably there for like 6 hours.
No. How many takes? That's the hardest part. I did one for FanDuel just to give a sites. I did one for FanDuel last year. That I didn't even have a speaking part, but I had a fist pump and then sit and fist pump. And I did a fist pump for like 3 hours straight. And you don't want to be a dick and be like, fuck, this is annoying. And then you're also like, I'm not like fucking Robert De Niro, so shut the fuck up. But also you're like, fuck, man, I guarantee I can't do it any better. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like, how annoying was that part?
I have a new appreciation for it for sure, because then you end up like seeing your commercial on like when you're randomly watching TV, and you're like, I did that shit probably like 20 minutes into our set, but we went for another 2 hours.
2 hours.
And we did this and that. We didn't use this or that.
Yeah.
It's like the fuck.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's taxing.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds funny to people listening, but like it tests your ability to put on a fake smile and be happy.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to be like, well, do that again. And when you have no experience acting, it's a nervous, for me, it's a nervous, whenever a camera's around like that and just staring at you, it makes you uncomfortable unless you're like really into it. You did the commercials great, but did you have a nervous feeling like when you first did it? You know what I'm saying? Like where you're just like, get the camera out of my face.
I wasn't more worried about the camera. It was just my lines.
The lines, yeah, that is
like,
hard. Yeah.
especially like me, like I kind of not really an on script kind of guy. I kind of like
you just
put my own little spin on things. I'm like, bro, I would never say this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. So like, I kind of just like put my own spin on it, but just remembering the lines was important.
yeah. Did they try to coach you or anything like that?
My partner at Northern Quest, the dude I do all the commercials with, he was super good at helping me.
No, they're great commercials, and
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Like, they're funny and they're witty and they're not cheesy or anything, or it's not like and this is not a knock anybody, but like, come on down to X Y, car wash or whatever, and you shoot a jumper. And I get it. Like, shit, I've done shit like that before, and so like I'm not hating on it, but sometimes they're like, you get there like, what the fuck am I doing? But yeah, that's interesting. Do you guys like, are you allowed to do, so I'm gonna ask you a question. I told you I wasn't gonna talk about money, but I'm going to anyway. But like it's a curiosity thing for me. So like, do you do any of the signature things for the card companies yet? Have you done those yet?
Yeah. That's why I've changed my signature. Everyone asked me
You
to sign
fucker,
stuff.
yeah.
You actually were on my ass about it the other week.
Yeah, because it was fucking, you signed it like this big, and I wanted, it was a ball just Drew Timme, and I didn't tell you that, so I'll give you an out.
Yeah, I thought I was signing the ball for you.
For everybody, but I
Yeah.
should have been like, sign it fucking all the way across. But I was like, what the fuck is, I mean, the people, like, it was like, dude, and I'm like, I've been there, okay, but like, when did the card stuff, how many have you done? Okay, so let me give context. Sorry to keep cutting you off, but obviously it's a podcast.
Yeah.
There's card companies. Panini's big now. It used to be Upper Deck when I was coming out, all that stuff. And they have these signature lines like are on a piece of paper, and it goes I think it's 94 or 64 on every piece of paper, right? The sticker ones,
Roughly, yeah.
roughly it's 64.
Yeah.
I did one last year randomly for Panini. It was awesome, but like, you have to sign probably 5,000 of them, and they have to do it. But like, you get a percentage, you get a fixed number per signature. And when I was, at my deal, I was getting like $28-$29 a signature. So it was really good money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked, like, have you done those? And like, what was your deal?
I've done so many of those.
Yeah.
And
They're great though.
Yeah, no, it's just like
easy.
finding out that like 2 hours of time that
You got to
just
do it
sit
in
down.
block. You have to do it in blocks.
Yeah.
We used to do it. The guy had to come to your house and watch you do it. So like, they were, because people would hire guys or whatever, but now they make you notarize everything, and they just kind of give you your word for it. But like, there used to be a guy that just come to your house, and this is days before social media, so you couldn't like look up who it is. Just like, Bill's coming to your house. He's going to knock on your door. Okay. You know what I mean? And the guy would just sit there and like, I'd be here, he'd be sitting right there watching me sign every single one. Yeah. So what's going on? Like, you have to like small talk with the dude. It's weird. Anyway, but you've done those before, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Don't ever turn those down. Just as a small piece of advice.
Yeah, I've done a couple different ones. So yeah.
They're awesome. But you just get the sticker cards and all this, and then I would save some of your own cards too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I need to.
Yeah, like your kids will like it, and then like, yeah, just save some of those.
I'm just so quick. Like, once I'm done, like, get these off me. Like, I'm done with these.
Oh yeah, well, what I mean is like,
no,
have them send you like, you did all the cards. Like, have them send you like the special edition of each one.
Yeah.
Put it in a hard case and then put it up. And then when you have kids and stuff, then it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I had a dude recently, probably like 6 months ago. I coached my daughter's AU team. Long story short, a friend bought a guy's collection, a massive collection. Dude passed away. So his buddy was a big time memorabilia collector. And this guy had a whole box of mine of probably every card ever made of every edition. And the guy just gave it to me. And I showed it to my kids, and they went fucking bonkers. And it was such a cool thing. The nicest thing a guy's done. He's like, yeah, man, I probably sell these. But he's like, I know you love hoops, and you coached my friend's daughter, and just have these. And it was just like the coolest thing. So like, save those, just so you know, like later on in life, you'll be like, oh, that's pretty cool. So getting into this year, obviously, like your junior year, fantastic. WCC Player of the Year, second team All-American. You guys went to the Sweet 16 last year against Arkansas. Your Memphis game was fantastic. It's one of the best games I've ever called. for real, like as an individual standpoint, like you took over that game. We were gonna lose if you didn't. I mean, what'd you do in the second half? 20 something. I mean, you just went bonkers. Like, you were doing shit that you normally didn't do that year. What the fuck? Where did this come from? But like making like step back jumpers and shit. You added that this year, but last year you didn't have that. So I was like, what the fuck? But we needed it. But what my point is, like, what was your mindset going into this season? Because my sophomore year, I averaged 19. I was on all the watch lists and all that stuff. WCC Player of the Year, like. Had a big year for a sophomore, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's like, oh, this kid's going to be good. What was the mindset like going into this season for you? Were you, obviously you were embracing the pressure of it because you've handled it well, but were you like, fuck man, like I better perform? Like, what was your mindset like? And I know you just kind of explained it earlier, like I don't really think about it, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I will say, like, looking back on it, like, it's kind of good that we lost some games early because there was so much pressure on this team, and like we were so scrutinized, and like I don't think people really realized how much that we lost and like how long it was going to take. Like, you can talk about like a team needing like some time to learn how to play. Like guys like Nolan and Hunter, like
they didn't play last year.
They need to learn what it's like to be in those games, and like
100%.
Now we see like all these guys are confident, and like hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, they just needed some time to figure it out. But like and Anton's now like in this huge role, which he's always been like a good player for us, but he's never been in this position. Like,
he never started.
You have to you have to score and like 10 plus for us to have a legit shot. And like losing early, like it helped because there was a lot of pressure on, especially me. I felt like just being the leader and kind of just the eye of the, like. Yeah,
you were preseason. What was your preseason fucking player of the year? I mean, like all that shit.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm asking. Like you had all of the player of the year, Wooden War, all that stuff. It's always curious to ask guys because some guys can't handle it, or they handle it but they don't really excel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They just kind of flatline. And so I want to just kind of get your take. I mean, obviously the start of the year wasn't great for you guys, but I was always like, Texas was going to be a tough game because you guys beat the shit out of them at our place and you kicked their ass. And so like walking into that game, like, not that we didn't have a chance, but like this could go sideways really quick.
And the way they played, it was obviously like one of those games where I don't know if anyone's beaten them on that night.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, and obviously the Chris Beard stuff's in the past, but like the way they fucking, if you can't handle the ice side ball screens like correctly right away, like it just swallows you up and blah, blah, blah. Like, when he was at Texas Tech, they gave us problems and we lost in the Elite Eight that year that's one of our best teams at, what was it? We had Josh Perkins, Snacks, BC, I think, Rui, Killian, like fucking team. And we should have won that game. But anyway, you didn't feel the pressure. You didn't feel like a bunch of weight on your shoulders coming in this year, or a little bit.
I do, like team wise, but like individually, no. Because everyone's always like, man, like you're up for player of the year, you're up for this, and then I'm like,
doesn't matter.
I don't care. Yeah. Like I don't really judge my success based off how I do. Like, I don't know. You probably know it's like there's a point like when like you just know like what you're gonna do. Yeah. It's just like I know like what I'm gonna do night in and night out. But like, how am I gonna make sure that like we get over that line and we win and we're successful? And I think like the pressure was like a lot because there was a stretch where like we played Kent State, Montana, Pepperdine, and like there's a stretch like there that we were in some close games that we should not have been.
Well, and then, Kent State was a fucking
they're a nightmare tournament matchup team.
Exactly. And I was trying to say that on the radio, like Kent State was what Gonzaga was 15 years ago. Older guys, incredibly tight unit, well coached, and good players that you've never fucking heard about that are hungry. And so like going into that game, Pete, the outside fans, we should win. It's like, fuck, this is going to be a hard game. It was.
They're going to be a good team in March.
Exactly. And it's one of those games where like, if you're let's say you're a 4, 5, or 6 seed, and then you get Kent State, and then you lose, I can put guys like jobs in peril, but also you're playing because they'll be like 11 seed, 12 seed, 10 seed, and like if you lose, like how'd you lose to that? And it's like this team's fucking good. Yeah. But you know, like I thought you guys started the season fine. I mean, that Purdue matchup was hard because Edie's such a weird. You never see that.
Yeah.
You just don't. He's fucking huge, and he's good. That's the weird part about it too. I know that sounds funny, but like he is good. Usually, you know, if you see the 7'4", 7'5" guys, they're kind of just.
People are like, it's only because he's tall, but like he has like nice hooks, touch. He knows how to use his body. Like he's
good.
really good.
Yes,
yeah,
he's good. He angles guys,
Yeah.
and the touch is great. And then like he doesn't panic on double teams. Obviously, he has the advantage to see over. But I was highly impressed. Was like, oh fuck, that guy can actually play. And I know that's a shitty thing to go into a game like just because he's tall. But it's like, no, he can move. Like it's a poor example of it, but like. People used to think that about Yao Ming when he first was like, oh, he's just huge. It's like, yeah, that fucker will hit an 18-footer, like turnaround on your ass and make free throws. You know what I'm saying? Like he can play. He's got footwork, all that stuff. But I thought you guys started the season off fine. That Michigan State game was weird. How was it playing on that? Just real quick. How was it playing on I thought that was a shitty fucking. The deal is cool. But like it was too fucking cold out. It was windy. I'm talking about the aircraft carrier game. Like, it was impossible to play on that thing. The backdrop was weird.
It was like you go like before halftime, and like the first half it's sunny.
Yeah,
and then you go in for your halftime like 15,
freezing.
and then you come back, it's pitch black. It's like cold. Like I'm asking for towels every media just to wipe I sweat a lot.
Yeah,
like it's the wind. Like with the sweat, I'm like I need to cool off. Like I'm freezing. I'm shivering on the bench, and like. You can't really shoot. It's windy. I mean, and I was just great event, but I never want to do it again.
No,
it's something like I'm glad to say I was a part of, but it's something for me that's like I did it. I don't need to do it again.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Fewy and the program would feel the same way. They wouldn't say it out loud. And this is just me talking, but it's like one's enough. Like it's cool. They do a fantastic job. The military stuff is great, but like it's an impossible game to fucking play. Like I'm always like. Just play a game on an Air Force base, but play it in like a hangar and then put fucking jets behind, but you're inside at least. And then do the game that way. Like the carrier's cool.
Yeah.
But like it was, I mean, I remember that night it had to been like 45 to 50 degrees. And then you're on the ocean, obviously, and you get that fucking breeze. I'm like, I'm freezing with a jacket. And I remember seeing you guys like this. And it's like, this isn't a good product for hoops. Like just watching that game, like this is like watching shitty fucking outdoor at the park.
Yeah, you can't make shots.
You can't shoot. So you got to like bulldoze your way to the basket. But you know, I thought you've done a good job this whole season of kind of, you know, putting distractions, but like all the awards. Like, did you ever have the scoring title thing on your mind? I figured you wouldn't.
No,
I never did either.
People were like you're gonna get the championship, WCC championship game. Like you're gonna break it. I'm like, no shit. I'm 5 points away. Like,
yeah, true.
I probably scored less than 5, probably once or twice in my career. Like I knew I was. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. Like super cool thing to get, and like in hindsight, like when I leave, I think I'll really appreciate like just the magnitude of it. But it's one of those things. It's like if we would have lost that game, I would have been like, fuck that record. You know. So like it's just one of those things. Like it's just a product of like all the success.
Yeah, all the success and the work you put in, and then the team success.
Yeah.
Because you know that's God bless Fewy, but he used that when I was coming out after my junior year. He's like, you can break the scoring record. I don't give a fuck about the scoring record. You know what I mean? Like I mean, you don't. You do and you don't. And it's not to take away from the guys, but like it's not something that you sit there and mark as a player. And I'm just trying to give the people listening context. Like. They're honorable deals. Your jersey's going to be up there, but like you don't sit there and count down the points. It's the other people that do it for you. It's cool honor, but it's also like, okay, you know.
The moment you start like chasing that stuff is the moment where
play
like
bad.
You just play bad. You're forcing stuff, and then like the team starts not playing well. Like it's just like it's just not good for anyone when like you're focused on that.
Yeah, no, I used to get. When I started playing shitty is when if I like went in my head and would look like, oh, I'm shooting, you know, so I was just like I'm shooting 47%, and if I can go 6 for 9 tonight, I'll be at 52 or whatever.
Yeah,
that's when you that's when you start going fuck, you know what I mean, and you start forcing things, or you just don't let the game come to you. But I thought you've had a fantastic season so far. Obviously, we're finding out what the NCAA tournament. Besides that, you know, Are you doing the wooden stuff? What awards do you have coming up? Do you know?
So I'm on
Like
the
ceremonies or whatever. Do you have to go to that stuff?
I went to the Wooden Award last year.
Yeah. It's a cool deal.
Yeah, super cool deal.
It's down at that athletic club, right? Down in
Yeah,
LA,
in
or
LA,
something.
yeah. So that was a cool deal. It's different. And then they haven't like announced any of the awards. Like if I make first team All-American again, like I'll probably have to do that again. And then like if I win the Karl Malone Award again, like I'm on that list. Like but I don't know when they announce that stuff. So like it's just they just released like the finalist list like last week. So
you got stuff to do after the season, obviously, but we did all that, and it's fun, but also like they're like, you have a speech prepared for the wood, and I'm like, I'm not winning this fucking award. I didn't have a speech prepared. And I'm like, what if I thought back, like, what if I won that and walked up there just straight up with nothing? Like, and it was close. It could have happened. But yeah, those things. Remember those things. Obviously, I know they can be taxing, but you know, I'm giving you unsolicited advice. You're on my show, so I can. But remember those things, and let your parents enjoy them too. Obviously, your parents are. I see them at the games; they're very supportive. But let them enjoy those too. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because you'll look back, and be like, oh, that was a really cool moment for all of us. But I'm sure your old man just put a lot of time, and obviously your mom, but like put a lot of time into your success. My dad was the same way for hoops. So like, part of that is them as well. It is. And
No,
then
it
driving you to
definitely is,
AAU games and paying for everything and telling you when you're shitty, when you know other parents don't tell their kids when they're shitty, all that stuff's a real thing, right? So enjoy those things. I got to do the cliche, and you can go as deep as you want. What's your best Coach Few story? Everybody always asks, and everybody wants to fucking hear it. So I've already tapped mine out, or the ones that are, good enough to be on broadcast radio or podcast. But do you have any good ones, like where you guys clown on him or something? I mean, because he's changed so much.
Yeah,
he's so much different. I mean, we're way ahead of your time, but he was way tighter and more disciplined when I was around. Like,
that's what GB used to say all the time.
And he was, and I was on GB when GB was there. I was a grad assistant, and he was way more loose then. Man, he was a fucking tight ass motherfucker for us. I'm not kidding, dude. And it's not us being like, oh, back in my day, like he used to cuss guys out. He was never like, go ahead and just play loose. He never said that shit, man. Like, he was like, we're running flex, and if you don't fucking throw it to the right guy, I'm taking you out. And then like, he was just more uptight. I think because he was younger, he didn't establish himself as much. The program was still on the rise, but he was. I don't think hungry is the right word, because he's still hungry now. He wants to win.
Yeah.
But he was trying to get the program to a different level, so the standards had to be established. And we didn't play fucking defense back in my deal. You guys like actually try to play defense, but like we just fucked around and tried to outscore people. Like, so that drove them nuts. But like, you got any good ones for us? Because I know, again, normally I wouldn't give a shit because I love Fewy and I know him as him, but everybody else likes to hear the fucking bullshit stories.
No, my favorite one ever is I think it was last when we played UCLA in Las Vegas. And Coach Cronin is the only dude that's like a little bit smaller than Coach Few.
Yeah.
And we won that game, and we're walking out of the like after the media, and it's like me, Fewy, and someone else, and they like, Coach Cronin's obviously steaming. He's pissed. He's a little fiery dude.
Yeah.
And Coach just goes, good game, Mick, and pats him on the back. And it's the first time I've ever seen him able to just like big body someone just because he's taller than him finally. And I just start crying, laughing, and he's trying to act like he doesn't know what I'm laughing about, but he knows exactly what he just did.
That's
and
awesome.
that was my favorite Fewy thing.
They got that game. You probably, I don't know if you recognized it, but Mick Cronin and B Mike got into it. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
During the game, so there was a scuffle. I can't remember what happened. I think one of you guys fell on his guy. So Mick Cronin's at half court, fucking yelling at the refs, and B Mike's out there, and Mick Cronin's like, get his ass off the court, and B Mike's like, I asked him, he's like, make me, and then Mick Cronin lost his shit. Fuck you, and then his staff got up. And they're fiery, but like B Mike was like, make me.
B-Mike.
Yeah. And I'm just like, yes. But yeah, Mick Cronin's great coach. It's not a knock, but it was like, B Mike. And then when they did the handshake line, I don't think that he shook his hand. So it was interesting because it's like, oh. But yeah, I mean, I was watching that Arizona UCLA game last night, and he fucking chews guys out.
Yeah.
You had Tommy. Tommy was
Yeah, I had Tommy for
2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
Tommy, there's no surprise at the success that he's happened.
No, facts.
Yeah, he was my guy. He was the fourth assistant when I was there. You know what I mean? Like the lower end, but he was. You could see the brain and all that stuff. But
no, it's sad to see him go, man. That dude would come into practice with like 5 new plays every day.
Every day,
it's
dude.
like,
It's crazy.
Just something new, and it's like, all right, like this is about to be a bullshit play. Like it's probably not going to work, and like it's just like what? Like the stuff he draws up and just the way he thinks about the game.
His action, he's really good at creating just actions. It's not always just sets, but he puts you guys in the right spot, especially you bigs. And obviously you're skilled, but he like, especially when like Phillip was there your freshman year, like the duck in from the weak side, and then you just get the fucking, and you just got to do this 8 times a night. You know what I'm saying? But like he puts guys in those spots. I mean, that's how BC got his. I mean, obviously BC's more rim roll, but BC would fucking murder guys on the weak side with a hard duck in, boop, and then 40-inch vert, and then it's like NBA
drop it in.
Drop it in. But NBA teams like, oh, I can do that, I can use that, and then same with Rui. So like he's a genius on that, and then he understands. The high-low action, which a lot of teams are not very good at, which I don't understand.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you play some teams and they just can't get the right spacing. They try to, like, the hardest pass, I think, is throwing it in from the wing. Yeah. Like, you can't really see the weak side
guy.
Like, but teams love to do it from there. I'm like, you got to throw it, like, in the middle. Third, because if the corner dude's in, then you can skip it.
Yep.
And if not, then you can throw it down. And I think that's something that, like,
well, we were always taught you don't throw it from the wing. We get our ass chewed if you throw it from the wing.
We still do,
yeah, because it's such an easy pass to break because the little hole guy will just fucking break on it.
Yeah,
like you said, but a lot of teams, they fall into the trap like, oh, front, and then here comes your backside guy and just picks it off. But anyway, so yeah, we got the Fewy story in. We got the NIL in. I don't think there's anything else, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. You guys got a fantastic run coming up. I think you've been one of the best GU players of all time. I really mean that. It's been a joy calling your games. It's not just the scoring. I love your energy about yourself. I know it's weird when somebody's talking about you right to your face to face, so it'll make you nervous. But for real, like you jovial, all that stuff's a real thing. It'd be fun to be like. I always think like, what guys would I like to play with? You've been one of them. Some of the guys I don't fucking would be like, I would want to play with that fucking asshole. I swear to God, I'll never say who they are, but there's some guys that I'm like, I would have fucking wore this guy's ass out, man. But anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you've had a great career. I understand, and this may sound weird, but people are giving you shit about, not giving you shit, but asking you, like, you have another year. Like, isn't it time to, like, move on with your life? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but you've been here 4 years. You played a ton of games. It's time to be Drew Timme, not at Gonzaga, right? And that's
that's why I actually announced like before senior night.
It's good,
dude. Everyone was like, "Are you coming back for your COVID year?" I'm like, "No."
And I've defended you on that, honestly.
Yeah, and I was just like tired of people asking. I'm like, no, like I've done my 4 years. Like I've had like a hell of a time, and like besides winning Natty, like I really don't know what more I could do like individually here, and like. I think coming back helps me a lot. It's helped my game, and like I think I've matured a lot, especially as a leader and just like working on things. But like it's to the point now where it's like I need like a new challenge. Like for me to like get better, I need a new like set of ordeals and challenges in a new environment. And like I'm just ready. Like as a player, like I'm just ready for that next step. And I'm excited about it, And it's kind of hard every day to come back. Like I think about like if I were to come back next year, like. Doing like all this all over again, like it's just a lot. It's a grind, and I don't think I'd be as motivated,
Yeah, and you get in the doldrums a little bit of just I don't know how to explain it. The culture is great, and we talked about that. And it's not bullshit. We're not just saying it because it's a Gonzaga themed deal and you're on it, but also like at a certain point, it's time to move on with life, and like you said, new challenges, and then like I don't know, like at some point you're gonna get.
I think it's a compliment to the program. It's like I feel so prepared and so ready for this new challenge that like
for you.
We've grown apart, And I think that's like the ultimate like greatest goodbye is like when someone's done so much for you that you feel like you're ready to go on your own.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like obviously we have like a lot left to do, but
Yeah, no.
it's at that point where I was tired of people speculating and like creating this narrative because it's like, no, like this is it. Like and I want like people to know like this is it. Like let's enjoy it and not, you know.
Yeah, enjoy it, live in the moment, and then not like, oh, there's still next year. It's like, nah, there isn't. And it's also like 4 years is natural, like what it's supposed to be. And that's not a knock on anybody because the COVID shit's different. And it's about the end, right? And the COVID stuff ending. Like I think the extra year, I think this is the last year you can do it.
This might be, yeah.
I think so.
It might be,
yeah. But anyway, it's like, I just think you announcing that was the right thing to do. And then I totally understand where you're coming from, honestly. Because it's like, you know, even after my junior year, I was like, I kind of want to just go see something else. And you know, and then you get into the pressure of trying to live up to stuff. And it gets taxing, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you one more thing, then we'll wrap this up. I know I've kept you long. How much has... You make sure you word this the right way, because I'm gonna word it the right way. But how much is like being around town and being recognized? How much is that good? Obviously, it's a good thing, but like, how tired of it are you being in Spokane and like just being recognized all the time, pictures, autographs? Because I lived that to you know at the same level. I did.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, tired of it.
I mean, obviously, but I would say like people are really respectful too. Like,
Yeah.
I would say at first I mean, for me, like it kind of happens everywhere I go now. Like even like when we're traveling and stuff, or I'm back home, like
Oh, for
it's
sure.
at that level. But like the only part I don't mind, or like the only time I don't like it is like when I'm trying to eat out with my family.
There you go.
And like I'm at a restaurant or like I'm like clearly like in the middle of something like with my friends or family, and like it's hard because like you have to find that balance. Like I don't want to be a dick, but I also don't want to do one and then the whole restaurant comes. You know,
the whole restaurant comes.
It's that hard balance of like
Or-
appropriate times.
I think, you know, because I've had people, you know, reach over the table over your food with their hand and fuck you doing, you know what I'm saying? And then also you get, you know, and then you get the, you know, people don't understand, like when you ask somebody to go out of their way to do something, it doesn't mean you have to treat us like a Julius Caesar. But also, like, if you're kind of a dick on how you ask me to do it, naturally I'm going to be a dick back just to be a dick in general. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
And people don't realize that. What's better for you, I think, at the time I was doing it, asking somebody for a picture and moving with phones is so more normal than it was when I was doing it. It was kind of a new concept. So, like, people, like, couldn't put it up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was more awkward in that sense. But I've always, you know, felt for you, and not in a bad way, but just like, man, I know what he's going through, where, like, you go anywhere in Spokane and you can't move normally. But also the backside of it is you have people that care about the program. So then you don't want to just be, so like, that's why I wanted to get your take on it. I'm just not to put you on a spot.
Yeah,
like,
no, honestly, the thing that like, the only thing that pisses me off is when people, you can tell when someone's doing it just to sell it.
oh yeah.
It's like, bro, like, don't have your kid come up to me so you can take it and then go have it signed. Like, which I for the most part, I've gotten pretty good at seeing that, and I'll be like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, I better not see this on eBay. Like,
You know how you combat that. Just like, who's it out to?
yeah.
And then if they say nobody, then you're like, I've done this. I used to do it, put to eBay. Really fuck somebody
Yeah,
up.
no, but like it's the best like when people like genuinely just like care and are so nice about it. Like,
No, absolutely.
That makes the world a difference for
Yeah.
it. It's
No,
just
absolutely.
the people that are like, I don't know you, I heard you're cool. Here, will you take a picture with me? It's like, no. Fuck?
You'll see it later on, the autograph guys that come up with the duffel bags, and then they meet you at the
Yeah.
hotels, and you see them at every fucking city, and you're like, dog, you're making like $20 off of me, man. Like, it just feels so greasy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just trying to make
it's
$20 off of me real quick. You don't give a
They're
fuck.
like waiting at our hotel. Like it was last year. Like when I was like, oh, like, will you sign this? And like you come back from shoot around, they're
Same
there.
guy.
You go back, like you come back from team dinner, they're still there. I'm like, dog, do you not got a family or someone? Like,
Yeah. No, I know they're trying to make like $20 off you. Like maybe it goes for
Yeah,
more, but
yeah,
like
I'm just
it's like they're trying to get you for $20, and you're
I'm
like,
just like, I'm good, bro. Like, no, I'm not helping you out.
like I said, always go, who do I make it out to? And then if they get real nervous, then you know.
That's a crafty vet move
It
right
is,
there.
It is a crafty vet move. Well, hey man, again, appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy. Best of luck rest of the season. Obviously, I'll be around, watch you guys. But all-time Zag, all-time good dude. Let's have a beer sometime when you're done.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? We'll go out, go to some undisclosed location. We'll go have a beer though. Talk about stuff.
No, definitely. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate it.
Cool.